What's up, guys? It's Matt here from Crypto Coffee, and today we're going to be talking about Orchid Network. This is going to be a review about what Orchid is, as well as just an overview of the token itself. And stay tuned, because at the very end I'm going to tell you a little secret about how to get approximately $50 worth of crypto for free, and quite a few Orchid tokens absolutely for free. If you don't know what I'm talking about already, stay tuned. I'm also wearing my golden jacket to celebrate 2020, bringing in the new year with the funky jacket. I've decided this is going to be my thing now. I'm just going to wear crazy clothes on every video, and I hope that you guys like it, and I hope that you stay tuned to see what I'm going to be wearing next time. It's just the kind of wild and wacky guy that I am, you know. But anyway, we're talking about Orchid today, and you crypto people probably have used what's called a VPN, a virtual private network. And you know, if you go on some of these websites that accept cryptocurrency, for example, I've heard on the dark web, there are some sites out there that allow you to buy things anonymously of questionable legal status. And of course, I've never done this before because I'm a good Samaritan. But you dirty crypto people, may be snooping around on the darknet and might want to guard your privacy with some kind of a virtual private network. And maybe you just live in a country that's got a lot of sanctions on it. Maybe you live in China, or maybe you're living in Iran. Hoping I don't get drafted for World War III myself, but that's neither here nor there. If you want privacy on the internet, you have to use a VPN. That's the long and short of it. And one of the main problems with VPNs these days is that at the end of the day, they're still owned by a centralized company, right? So there have been cases in history that documented where even using a VPN, people have done such terrible, heinous things that governments have actually asked the VPN providers to just go ahead and hand over the internet browsing data of a few individuals. And whether or not this is morally right or wrong, I think in order to have an ultimately free society, we need a VPN that's not controlled by a central party. Because as we've seen, that can be bypassed. And that's what Orchid Network really is. Okay, so Orchid Network is a Web3 browser. And today I'm going to be talking about how to use it. I'm actually going to be demoing it for the first time myself. So you can get an authentic view of how easy it is for me to set up. And maybe you'll decide that you want to use this as well. So this is going to be my very first time. And if you stick around to the end of the video, guys, I'm going to tell you a little secret about how to get a couple of free Orchid tokens for absolutely free. So how crazy is that? And there's no gimmicks here. It's actually free. So stick around to the end for that. Now, Orchid Network is a really exciting project. And just to build the hype a little bit, it's backed by VCs like Tim Draper. And I'd even heard people like Andreas Antonopoulos mention it before. And if he ever heard me saying that, he'd probably want to punch me in the face. But I know he's historically does not like to promote any projects himself because he doesn't want to give investment advice. That's very responsible of him, but I do remember him being asked in a past video. They were like, Andreas, is there anything you're particularly excited about coming up in the crypto world? And this was like 3 years ago. I think he mentioned Orchid Network, but not as an investment opportunity at all. And that was back when you couldn't even buy tokens, so I remember I thought nothing of it at the time. I didn't even know much information. I couldn't even find anything about it at the time. But it definitely, stuck with me because I figured, if Andreas is interested in this project, it must be pretty good. And I think there's a lot of other really smart individuals working on this too. We can get into that a little later. I'm not saying Andreas is promoting this project, but I'm saying with the kinds of caliber of people involved, this is something that you're going to want to pay attention to. So let's talk about what Orchid is, right? We'll go to the How It Works page. Orchid delivers digital privacy. It basically gives you a VPN that's decentralized because as an individual, you can choose to run a node and sell your bandwidth for OXT tokens, which is the Orchid Network token. It's an ERC20 Ethereum-based protocol token. And if you have the app as a client, you can buy bandwidth from various providers via the app. And it actually gives you a VPN service that hops through a bunch of a decentralized network of providers and literally cannot be tracked at all. And you might say, well, why do they need a token, right? That's the famous maximalist argument. And why they need a token right now is, I think, because Bitcoin really can't be used in, it's got limitations, right? Bitcoin's not perfect. Maybe someday we'll be able to use Bitcoin or Lightning Network or something like that. But for now, this company needed to create a token that can handle the functionality and the utility that they're trying to provide, right? So you can actually, there's two different main types of usage of this token. Like I said, you can be a bandwidth provider. So anybody can operate an Orchid node by staking OXT. Now, I'm very interested in that as an investment opportunity. So I want to look into the details of how much OXT it actually takes to stake a node and see if that would be potentially a good reward in the long term. And I could also be a user too, so I can just pay for a private secure internet connection by connecting to the VPN and actually streaming a series of micropayments to these internet providers that are staking their tokens. So it's a peer-to-peer network, and the goal is to have digital currency that's specifically tied to the bandwidth of the Orchid network and to actually align incentives toward benefiting the Orchid network. So staking actually aligns people to want to hold on to tokens in order to get more future reward, right? So that's how staking works in general, except in this instance, it's kind of like staking as a service. So by staking, you're also providing a service to quite a few people. Now the protocol, I'm not too technical here and I'm not going to get too technical, but the protocol is designed to use a custom brand new kind of technology similar to OpenVPN or WireGuard, but it's optimized for high performance and it runs on a commonly used web standard called WebRTC, and it uses a nano payment system, which I believe is patented, and that's kind of their claim to fame here, is their very unique method of delivering the technology. And so these nano payments use a probabilistic system of throughput to basically optimize your OXT tokens to go through the ideal route and get the highest bang for their buck, so to speak, in terms of the OXT that you end up paying for bandwidth. And when people like Andreas and others talk about streaming micropayments, this is one of the first implementations I've actually seen of payments being used in that form. And, you know, personally, I don't think this is going to be widely adopted at first, but I think it will be adopted in a very niche community of crypto people and just highly technical people in general, because we're kind of the only people that care about privacy right now. We haven't really had too many global scale like breaches of privacy where our personal day-to-day lives are affected. So you're not going to get like your grandpa using this kind of system. I mean, it's kind of hard to understand in the first place. And I mean, not everybody uses a VPN, right? But you can still onboard the more tech-minded and privacy-minded VPN users, similar to how you can onboard more privacy-minded users towards Brave browser instead of Google Chrome, right? So similar thing here. Instead of using TorGuard or OpenVPN, you might switch over to Orchid Network if you're already familiar with VPNs and if you want more privacy. So I don't think this is going to get mass adoption. This is not going to be the breakthrough watershed event in crypto, but it's going to be something that's going to be used right from the get-go because they already have a working product and they're already targeting a specific niche market of people. So about nodes, Orchid nodes retain information in the registry on Ethereum, and it's optimized for people to discover servers in the ideal way that delivers data, blah, 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 technical jargon. Staking. So let's get into staking. Staking is a really interesting, profitable opportunity here. Anybody can stake OXT using their smart contract. Clients actually select new nodes in proportion to their relative deposit size. So if I stake a larger amount of OXT, I become a preferred node of bandwidth. And therefore, larger stakes lead to more users and more bandwidth and eventually more revenue, which is the main driver there. So if the node is already at max bandwidth, then any additional capacity is wasted. So there is a ceiling here, which I think is a good, I think that's really smart, because then you can't have one super rich guy becoming the central node, right? Because that's the big thing with proof of stake. A lot of people complain about, you know, oh, well, if one person owns all the coins, then it's not really decentralized. Yeah. So, you know, that stupid decentralization argument. I don't want to get into proof of stake versus proof of work right now. They're both good, and I'm not picking one or the other. But it is really nice to see that they have a cap of bandwidth. And so there can never be kind of an elite group of staking nodes that would control the whole system. So this OXT token might pump just due to hype and due to the fact that they have a working product. And I think when we get into the next bull market, it's really going to come down to companies that have a working product, because we're at the point now where a lot of the bullshit has been shaken out and people want to see actual usage. And I think this is one of those platforms that's going to have usage because it has a product. And now let's get into how we actually use this piece of technology. So if you're stuck around this long, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I'm going to spill the beans a little bit early, but this is how you get a free OXT token, actually without any work, barely any work at all. So if you know Coinbase, you're going to go to coinbase.com/earn. And if you have a Coinbase account, great. If you don't have a Coinbase account, you should go make one, because they have this whole section here, which I want to make another video on in the future, where you can earn free tokens by literally just watching videos and answering like the easiest quiz ever. Like, it asks you one question about the video, and as long as you can like deduce simple logical things, you don't even really need to watch the video. You can just fast forward through it and get your money from that, right? So here is an example. This is the Orchid Learn page, and you can see I've already watched all the videos about what is Orchid, how do you use Orchid, how does Orchid keep data private, and each of these videos answering their one question quiz gets you the $4 worth of OXT. So you can get $12 of OXT in literally like less than 10 minutes. It's the easiest thing ever. Also, use my referral link in the description below, and we'll both get more money from the whole process. So if you use my link, I'll get some OXT, you'll get some OXT, and it's a win-win, right? And then you can invite your friends and they can get OXT too. And so once you have your OXT in your wallet, you got to send it to something like MetaMask. And so if you don't have MetaMask, it's just a simple Ethereum wallet that is a Chrome extension. And so just Google MetaMask and download the Chrome extension, and you'll be good to go in terms of how to use this. And now I want to talk about the app itself. So let's try to run through this. Again, this is my very first time, and I've got my phone, my test phone up here, and I've got the Orchid instructions here. Let's see how easy it is to set this up for the first time. So I've already downloaded MetaMask, and now it says go to account.orchid.com in your browser. So I'll do that, and it'll say that I need to connect to MetaMask. And so I just click on my MetaMask. MetaMask would like to connect to your Orchid account, sure. And now this is, you can see here I've got a few bucks worth of Ethereum in here, and I've got all my free Orchid tokens, my 39 free Orchid tokens. So, you know, all this stuff was literally free from Coinbase. This was like the easiest $20 I've ever made. And now we've got, all right, copy the Ethereum address to the Orchid app, and paste your signer key from the Orchid app. All right, so we're just going to go through these steps one by one. I loaded my MetaMask on orchid.com, account.orchid.com. I added some OXT and some ETH to my wallet so I can transact. It says $4 worth of OXT should provide about 60 gigabytes of VPN service, so okay. Step 3, get a signer key from the app. So here I'll show you guys my app. And I'll show you guys that I've opened up the app, and the first step is it says select hop type. I'm going to select Orchid Hop, and I'm going to go ahead and paste my Ethereum address in here. Now I'm going to generate a signer key. So I just click the plus button, and now I'm going to go generate. And that's my signer key. So I guess we'll copy this and we'll save that. So copy the signer key. Okay, it's copied. Now we go back to account.orchid.com in the web browser, and we'll paste that there. And you might be saying to yourself, wow, Matt, how are you doing that so fast? Well, I paused the video and I copied and pasted all this shit when you weren't looking. So we're going to paste that in here, and remember that's coming from the app. We paste it now onto the website. So it matches up. Does it match up? No, it does not. So we verify that they both match. OXEB, yada yada. Transfer the OXT. See if this works. And then we got to open MetaMask again. Probably allow it to transfer. So transaction fee, yes, I'd like to pay that 1 penny. And so I approved that transaction. Now let's see, fund your account. I guess we just have to wait until this transaction goes through and confirm the transaction. All right, it took about 30 seconds and your account is funded and ready to go. So there we go. You know, not the most intuitive experience for a total newbie, but for someone that's used Ethereum before, it's pretty straightforward. So now you can see I've got all my balance of 37 OXT in here, and I've got my little beaver there. Pretty cool. And now you can see back in the app, I could turn on Orchid to actually activate my hops and protect my traffic. I guess I can see my credentials in here, and I can rate limit it. So quite a few features in here. And the more hops that you add to the network, the more anonymous you become, because if you add even one hop to the network, your IP address information goes from one node to another node, and then finally it goes from that node to the end destination. So really nobody can track you as long as you have more than one hop in the middle. Let's see what else you can do in here. Open source, settings, advanced, help, privacy. It's a pretty basic app so far. But basically we just turn this bad boy on, and let's see. Oh, look at that. I turned the VPN on so I can no longer mirror my screen because it's a private VPN and the screen mirroring is not available. So I'll turn it back off. All right, and I'm mirroring again. So that's that. And that is the gist of Orchid Network. Pretty cool. I might use it. I don't know if I want to pay that much for privacy of a VPN, but let's talk more about OXT as an investment opportunity. All right, so here's OXT on Coinbase. And, you know, it was a little bit kind of not very crypto-esque of the way that Orchid launched. They had a ton of private investors, and those private investors got in early at what I've heard is a price of 37 cents. So if we look at the all-time price of this thing, I think it launched in the exchange on December 16th when it immediately dumped, right, down to 29 cents. So that could have been early investors just offloading some of it. And then it quickly spiked back up to 68 cents, just, you know, being a new listing and getting that new fresh Coinbase pump. And now it's kind of just gradually declined all the way back down to 31 cents, so almost back to the initial low. It's kind of funny because this is kind of exactly what happens with an ICO pop, or sorry, an IPO pop in the normal finance world with IPOs. So, you know, a lot of people have been selling. The all-time high was 72 cents, it appears, but if this gets to all-time lows, I would consider buying it as an investment opportunity. I need to find out a little bit more about how much it costs to run a node, but if the pros outweigh the cons in terms of my reward, then I could definitely see riding this coin up the next bull market, and this being a key buy just because of the working product, the availability of users already, the fact that it's on Coinbase, the fact that it's backed by Tim Draper, Andreas Antonopoulos, and so many other really smart individuals. But I would try to wait to get this maybe a little bit lower, because I think we might have a little bit lower to go in crypto. Again, it's not financial advice, just my opinion here. But as you can see, it works and it's pretty easy to use. It did do the typical kind of IPO pop and fall again. But I'm thinking, I don't know why this would need to be that expensive. At 33 cents, if what they're saying where $4 of OXT is enough to provide you 60 gigabytes of service, that means that the price should probably reach a stabilizing point where people value private VPN service at. So if you take I know for a fact that like TorGuard charges $30 a year for VPN service, right? $30 a year divided by 12. What's 30 divided by 12? 30 divided by 12 is $2.50 a month. So it would cost about $2.50 a month to buy a typical VPN. And it depends how much service you're using, right? So if you're using 60 gigabytes of service, that's kind of maybe on the high end of VPN service. But if you only turn this thing on when you need private VPN service, I could see this actually being a better deal than most VPNs. If you leave your VPN running constantly, it's probably going to be a little more expensive than a typical VPN service. But, I don't know fully the economics of this token and how it's going to play out. But what will attract a lot of buyers is the staking opportunity, right? And so once people find out that they can make money by becoming a bandwidth provider, I think that people will buy a lot more OXT. And then I think it should stabilize at a fair price that the market decides that private VPN service is worth. So I don't think we've seen the final pump of Orchid as a newly released coin on December 16th. I think there's definitely another pump in this bad boy, and I would buy it just to try to sell the next run up. And then I would also buy it after I consider how much money I can actually earn being a bandwidth provider. But that is probably not going to be established for quite some time. So I think it's pretty safe to say that this has a lot of potential energy within it. Again, not financial advice, but that's a demo. And if you guys have any other questions or comments, leave me a message in the description below. If you want your free Orchid, click the link in the description below. It's literally the easiest thing you'll ever do. And go try it out. Go have fun. It's a cool product, and I'm glad that the crypto space is emerging with real products and real use cases. So go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to see any kind of videos in the future. And me and my golden jacket are going to go enjoy our 2020 year. So peace out.